I'm Rachel, a young lady in a rich family for many generations. If you look from the outside, everyone thinks my life is a dream. A lavish mansion, a powerful father, and everything any girl desires. I've never had to do anything myself, from brushing my teeth, washing my face, getting dressed. All are served right at my door. I carry within me the pride of a white lily, a princess in my palace. But no one knows that my life is actually a golden cage, and I'm just a bird trapped inside, waiting to be killed. My mother passed away early, when I was only 10. She is the only woman in this life who loves me unconditionally. I remember the afternoons when she held my hand and walked with me in the garden full of hydrangeas. She promised that she would always protect me, but then she left me forever. 5 years later, Marina appeared. She is not my father's legal wife, just a beautiful, skillful woman who knows how to take advantage of men. She brought her own daughter, Emily, a girl who looks gentle, but is actually a poisonous snake. From the first time we met, I felt Marina's eyes. It has no love, no goodwill. Behind that friendly smile lies only cold calculation. She doesn't need to say much. I know her intentions clearly. She wants me gone, because when I'm no longer here, Emily will become the princess of this family. At first, they were friendly. Marina often bought me gifts, gave me expensive items, and tried to please me in front of my father. But when it was just the two of us, she turned into a completely different person. "Do you think you'll keep your position forever?" Marina said, her eyes shining with contempt. "Sooner or later, your father will get bored of you. Emily is more sophisticated. She never attacks directly. Instead, she sowed doubt in my father's heart. Rachel seems more spoiled, Dad. I saw her coming home very late the other day. Rachel has been a bit cold towards you lately. Does she hate you?" Just like that, little by little, they distanced my father from me. But I don't care. I am used to loneliness. I don't need them. And that was what led them to the next step, a perfect plan to completely destroy me. It was my birthday, around 18 years old. I didn't want to organize it, but Marina convinced my father to throw a big party, and of course I couldn't refuse. The party took place magnificently, with full guests, fine wine, and melodious music. I don't like that fake atmosphere, but still remain polite, until Emily gave me a glass of wine. "Who wants a birthday drink?" She smiled sweetly. "I'm here in my house. I'm the owner here." To show off my authority, I picked up the glass of wine and took a sip, but a glass of wine changed everything. After that, I don't remember anything else. I woke up in a strange room with dim lights. My head hurt like hell, and my body felt weak. And the most terrible thing, there was a man lying next to me. His back was turned, but I didn't need to see clearly to know who it was. James. My whole body stiffened. I tried to remember what happened. Faint memories rushed back. I was drunk. I was tricked into coming here. And James, he raped me. Fear flooded my body. I wanted to run outside, but my legs had no strength. The room door opened. Marina and Emily stood there. "Oh my God, what's going on?" Marina pretended to be surprised. "Rachel, this girl, could she do this again?" I wanted to scream, to explain, but my throat was dry. Marina turned to James, who had just opened his eyes, his expression still sleepy. "James, this Rachel girl, she slept with you, right?" She pretended to be shocked, but her eyes were full of malice. James sat up, looked at me, then looked at Marina. "I don't know. We drank a bit too much." That's bad, but you're also a responsible man, right, James?" Marina said, her voice sweet but menacing. "This girl, Rachel, is pregnant. So what?" At that moment, I knew. I was trapped. Everything after that happened so quickly. I found out I'm really pregnant. Marina and Emily cried to my father, pretending to be saddened by the ruined family honor. They said that if I didn't marry James, the family's reputation would be greatly affected. Marina is not even a member of this family. How disgusting. And my father, because he trusted Marina and her mother so much, forced me to get married. I have no other choice. The day I put on my white wedding dress, I didn't have a single happy tear. I looked in the mirror and saw a strange girl, with empty eyes. James grabbed my hand and whispered, "Don't think I want to marry you. I'm forced to, but you will never be my real wife." I smiled faintly. "I also never wanted to be your wife." The years that followed were a nightmare. James looked down on me. He sees me as a parasite, a useless woman who doesn't deserve him. To him, I am a woman who easily uses alcohol to seduce men. "I made a mistake marrying you. You were never good enough for me. Look at you. Are you any different than a failure? What about Marina and Emily? They appear in my house whenever they want, spending money like water. They often remind me that I'm nothing but a tool to give birth to the James Holies. I thought I would live like this my whole life, but no. One day, when James threw a cup of coffee straight down on the table and shouted, "I regret marrying you. You were never good enough for me." He should have gotten Emily, not me. He was also stupid. The one who used him was Emily. James was just a pawn. I suddenly thought that being able to touch my toes was also his blessing. I looked at him for a long time, and then I decided, I will change my life, not because of him, it's because of me. I still remember that night, the night James said that I was never good enough for him. Maybe he thought I would cry, beg, and try to change to please him, but no, I just smiled faintly. For the first time in many years I felt relieved. I know, I have nothing to lose, and when a woman has nothing left to lose, she will do anything to get her life back. I am a white lily full of pride. Is it possible that just a little bit of defeat can cause me to lose my dignity? But Toe, I can't leave right away. If I do that, I will fail. I need a plan. I need time. First step, I must have money. Marina and Emily tried to take everything that belonged to me, but I still have interests in my family's corporation. My father gave me a portion of the shares, but Marina always sought to control the finances. I started to secretly find out. I collected documents and secretly met with a lawyer. I want to know what I can get back. The most important thing, I opened a separate bank account. No one knows about it. No one. Second step, I had to leave James's shadow. Since getting married, I've lived like a puppet. James didn't want me to have a career, didn't want me to be better than him, didn't want me to become an independent woman. He always says, "You're not smart enough to do big things." But I know clearly who I am. Before I was destroyed, I was talented and ambitious. I will find myself again. I decided to engage in work. Maxwell Brooks is one of the largest marketing companies. I know they are hiring for a marketing director position. I applied. Don't tell anyone. If I succeed, I will have a strong enough career to escape James. I signed up for the gym, not to beautify James, but to regain himself. Every day I wake up early and go to the gym. I train my body, train my will. I looked at myself in the mirror and saw a stronger woman gradually emerging. James noticed the change. "What are you trying to do? Think you can seduce me?" I just laughed. He didn't know I was preparing. As I started to stand up, Marina felt it. She doesn't want me to have power. She needed me to be weak. She needed me to continue to be controlled. One morning, while I was drinking coffee, she suddenly appeared. "Rachel, you're changing. And it's not good." She smiled, but there was no friendliness in her eyes. I put down my coffee cup and looked straight at her. "Are you worried?" Marina tilted her head. "I only want the best for you. Have you forgotten who is in charge here?" I didn't reply, but in my heart I know one thing clearly. She was scared. She knows if I get stronger, she and Emily will lose everything, and I won't leave them alone. As the day of my interview at Maxwell Brooks approached, I kept it completely secret. James continued to look down on me. He thought I would forever be an incompetent wife, a woman with no future, but he began to have doubts. "You're very different these days. What are you hiding from me?" I just laughed. "If I told you, would you believe it?" He didn't answer, because deep inside he knows he lost control of me. Interview day. I wore a bright red dress, not the boring clothes James forced me to wear. I want to walk into Maxwell Brooks with the strongest confidence. When I walked into the interview room, I felt like I'm back. "Why do you want to work here?" I smiled. "Because I want to take back what belongs to me." The interview lasted more than an hour, and when I walked out of there, I knew I had succeeded. 3 days later, I received an email. "Congratulations on becoming Chief Marketing Officer of Maxwell Brooks." I held the phone tightly, a feeling bursting in my heart. I did it. I had a career. I had finances. Now I can leave James. Dinner with James's partners took place on Thursday. James wanted me to wear the blue dress he chose. He wanted me to look gentlemanly, wanted me to play the role of the perfect wife, but I'm no longer his puppet. I showed up in a dress red, brilliant, powerful. When I entered the restaurant, all eyes were on me. James looked at me, stunned. "What the hell are you doing?" I just laughed. As dinner began, the partners asked me about work. Before James could speak, I gently said, "I was recently promoted to Director of Marketing at Maxwell Brooks." The whole dining table was silent. One of the partners exclaimed, "Maxwell Brooks! That's the industry leader." James gasped. My partners' wives began to look at me with different eyes. "And yet James always says you're just a housewife," a woman sneered. Every word, every look caused James's perfect image to crumble. At the end of the meal, I gently said to James, "The divorce papers are on the table. I left last week." His face was pale. "Rachel, you can't do that." I curled my lips. "You said I would never be good enough for you. And you were right, because I am better than you thought. I walked out of the restaurant and took a deep breath. I got rid of him. Now my life has just truly begun. I left the restaurant to James's surprise, in the surprised eyes of his partners. For the first time in many years, I felt truly free. James didn't run after me. He just stood there, stunned, as if he couldn't believe what had just happened. I know he's thinking. He will try to control the situation. He will find a way to bring me back. But this time, I've come too far to be pulled back. I went straight to my new apartment, a place James didn't know about. Opening the door and stepping in, I took a deep breath, no longer under control. No more judgment, no more cruel words every day. I turned on the phone. James's messages filled the screen. Rachel, don't do anything stupid. We need to talk. You're being affected by the rapid change. Please calm down. I looked at the screen and laughed softly. James thinks I'll come back. Does he think I'm just angry? He doesn't understand that I have changed forever. I put the phone down and didn't answer. Tomorrow I will start work at Maxwell Brooks. My new life officially begins. James did not give up his control easily. 3 days later, he came to my company. When I walked out of the meeting room, I saw him waiting in the lobby. All eyes in the company were on him, an elegant, confident man. But in my eyes, he's just a desperate person. Rachel, we need to talk. He stepped forward. I crossed my arms and looked at him calmly. You have no right to be here, James. He frowned. You can't end things like that. You're falling into an illusion. Come back. We can work things out. I curled my lips. How to solve it? Let you continue to control me. Continue to degrade me. He gritted his teeth. I can't live without you, Rachel. I burst out laughing, a laugh that echoed throughout the hall. You're wrong, James. I can't live without myself, and I've found myself again. Security approaches. An employee asked if I needed help. I looked straight at James, my voice calm but powerful. If you appear in front of me again, I will report you to the police. He glared, but then understood he no longer has power over me. Finally, he quietly turned and left. James isn't my only enemy. Marina and Emily, poisonous snake mother and child, still leisurely enjoying a luxurious life based on the money and power they stole from my family. But they didn't expect that I'm ready to turn it all around. I secretly hired a detective to investigate Marina's finances. Not long after, I discovered she embezzled a huge sum of money from my father's company. Greed is always the knife that kills traitors. I don't hesitate anymore. I met my father in person. He looked older than before, weaker than before. Marina ruined you more than I thought. When I presented evidence of her crime, his eyes filled with tears. Why didn't you say anything sooner? He asked. His voice choked. Because I'm not strong enough, I replied. But now I'm ready. And so, Marina was officially kicked out of our lives. My father fired her immediately, cutting off all financial resources. Emily is no exception. She screamed, trying to hold on, but it was too late. I've been waiting for this day for so long. The next day, the news broke out. All those who had flattered Marina turned their backs on her. A person without money is nothing. Emily, her beloved daughter, also fall into crisis. When she was at the top, she looked down on me and humiliated me constantly. But what now? She has nothing but a vain name. She tried to cling to James, thinking he would be her salvation. But James is also on the brink of collapse. He cannot protect her. I don't need to do anything else. James destroyed himself. After the events at that dinner, his reputation was seriously damaged. He tried to keep his position in the law firm tight, but everyone did see his true face clearly. His partners gradually shunned him. No one wants to work with someone who looks down on their wife. In just 3 months, he lost everything. Job, reputation, relationships. Finally, he was forced to leave the company. One day, as I was sitting in my new apartment, enjoying a glass of red wine, the phone rang. Strange number. I picked up the phone. Rachel. It's me, James. I raised my eyebrows. What is up? He was silent for a long while. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I don't deserve to lose you. I laughed. A light laugh. You're right. You're not worth it. He exhaled, as if he didn't believe I could refuse so easily. Can we meet and talk? I shook my head, even though he couldn't see. No, James. I have no reason to see you anymore. He tried to say something, but I hung up. There's nothing more to say. I put down my glass of wine and stepped out onto the balcony to look at the vast city. I got away from it all. I got my life back. And this time, no one can take it away from me anymore. James still did not give up. After I hung up on the call, he continued to text, call, and even come to the company to find me. I did not respond. I don't want to hear anything from him anymore. The past is dead. One Friday, as I was preparing to leave after a busy week at work, my secretary knocked on the door. Rachel, there's a man. He said he wanted to see you. I don't need to ask to know who it is. Calmly putting down my pen, I stood up. Tell him to wait in the lobby. James sat there, in an expensive suit that no longer exuded his usual confidence. When he saw me coming, he immediately stood up. Rachel, I beg you, we need to talk. I crossed my arms and kept my tone cold. About what? About us. He swallowed. I was wrong. I really regret it. I smiled, but it wasn't a warm smile. Regret? Regret for what? He was confused, as if he didn't expect me to ask so directly. For treating you badly, for not appreciating you. He looked at me hopefully. I want to do it again. I raised my eyebrows. Redo? He nodded. I will change. I will be better. I interrupted. James, who do you think I am? He was stunned. What do you mean? I'm not an object that you can change if you want, or keep if you want to keep. I spoke slowly, my voice filled with determination. I've spent 6 years of my life putting up with you, and now, I don't intend to lose another second. I saw despair in his eyes. Rachel, you don't understand. I really love you. I laughed. Love me? You love me, but you spent your entire marriage putting me down, criticizing me, making me think I'm incompetent. He opened his mouth but couldn't say anything. James, you don't love me. You just love the power to control me. I took my bag, turned and walked away. Don't look for me anymore. He didn't chase. For the first time, I felt your full power. Not long after I started hearing news about James. After losing his job at his old law firm, he tried to find another job, but his reputation has been destroyed. No one wants to work with a guy who treats his wife badly in front of your colleagues. He started to decline. The people who once flattered him have now left. The partners who once trusted him have now chosen someone else. He is no longer the James he was once proud of. Not only James, Marina is also in dire straits. She used to live lavishly and drained my father's assets. Now, after being fired, with no more money flowing into her pocket, she began to reveal her true colours. The people who used to cling to her gradually left. I don't feel pity. This is retribution. But Marina hasn't given up yet. She sent messages, trying to convince me to persuade my father to forgive me. Rachel, you can't treat your stepmother like that. After all, I raised you. I looked at the message and laughed bitterly. What did she do besides try to push me out of the family? I don't answer. She chose her path, and now she has to face the consequences herself. Emily is no better than her mother. After Marina lost her financial support, Emily began to panic. She found me, trying to show remorse. Rachel, we're sisters. I can't let you suffer like this. I looked at her, not believing she could say that. Sisters. I emphasize every word. The sister you humiliated for so many years. The sister you tried to take everything away from. She bit her lip. Can you forget the past? We can start again. I raised my eyebrows. And let you continue to take advantage of me. She shook her head vigorously. No, I really regret it. I just want a chance. I curled my lips. Emily, you and your mother have had countless opportunities. I spoke slowly, but sharply, but you two never appreciated them. And now, I'm no longer obligated to give you anything. I stood up. You and your mother have taken enough advantage of my family. From now on, I am no longer a passive player in this game. Emily shed tears. But I no longer care. She chose her path. And now I no longer have the responsibility to save her from it. After all, I look back at my life. I am no longer held back. No more manipulation. No more being controlled. I am free. I live in an apartment I choose. Do the job. Side people who truly love me. And most importantly, I got myself back. Every morning when I wake up, I no longer feel afraid. I no longer care about criticism or judgment. I no longer have to pretend to be someone I'm not. I'm Rachel. I am strong. I'm good enough. And this time, no one can take that away from me anymore. Even though I had left James and cut ties with Marina and Emily, a part of me was still not completely at peace. I can't let the people who ruined my life go on living like nothing happened. They have to pay the price. I spent time gathering everything I could find about Marina. Does she think she can live in peace after kicking me out of the house? No way. I contacted my own lawyer and began investigating the finances of my father's company, the company that Marina and Emily sought to take over. Not long after, I found it important evidence. Marina was embezzlement of money from company funds. She used my father's name to borrow money illegally. Emily also get involved in this plan. I took everything in my hands and went to meet my father. My father was much thinner after the years of being manipulated by Marina. When I presented the evidence, he was speechless. Rachel, where did you find these? I clenched my fists. I can't let them continue to take advantage of you anymore. He looked at me, his eyes full of pain. I'm sorry. I shook my head. Dad, there's no need to apologize. We need to do the right thing. My father was silent for a moment, then nodded. You're right. They've taken enough advantage of our family. We decided to take action immediately. Marina did not expect my father to act so quickly. A lawyer was sent in, and she had his right to operate the company immediately suspended. The entire amount of money she embezzled was exposed. Emily was also dragged into the incident, being investigated for helping her mother in financial fraud. I can't describe the feeling when I saw the mother and child panicking. For the first time, they no longer had power. Marina screamed at my father. You can't do that. I sacrificed my life for you. My father just looked at her coldly. Sacrifice? Or just take advantage? Emily burst into tears. We are family. Why would you do that to me and me? I walked forward, facing her. Family. When you and your mother harmed me. When you two cornered me. Emily couldn't say anything. I turned to my father. Let's get them out of our house. My father nodded. And so they were sent away. Forever. I thought James had disappeared from my life, but he turned back, this time in the most pitiful form I have ever seen. One afternoon, I received a text message from a strange number. Rachel, please see me one last time. I don't intend to answer, but then I want to see with my own eyes how depressed he is. I agreed to meet at a small cafe. James walked in, no longer looking handsome like a successful lawyer. He looks bad. Stubble, dark eyes. Rachel! He sat down, his hands shaking. You lost everything. I crossed my arms and raised my eyebrows. Should I feel sorry? James smiled bitterly. I was wrong, I know, but I really can't live without you. I laughed. So what do you need me for? To continue to control? To continue to make me feel like I'm not good enough? He shook his head. I know you're strong. I know you're not the woman you used to be anymore. I tilted my head. So you think I'll come back? He didn't speak. I lowered my voice. James, you had it all in your hands, and you lost it. Not because of me, but because of yourself. I stood up. This is the last time we'll see each other. Don't look for me anymore. James watched me leave. I knew. That was when he understood that I had escaped him forever. Finally, I was completely free. Marina and Emily no longer have a place in my family. James has no chance of coming back into my life. My job, strong advancement. I have one real family with my father, and those who truly love me. I looked back at myself in the mirror. No more manipulated girls. No more women endure torment. Only a strong, independent, free Rachel. I won, and this time, no one can take that away from me anymore. In the end, I won. It's not just about winning against Marina, Emily, or James. It's about winning yourself. I am no longer a weak girl, resigned to my fate. I am no longer a woman held back in a toxic marriage, or manipulated by people who only want to take advantage of me. Now I am Rachel, a strong, independent woman, and in control of her life. But here is not the end. This is just the beginning of a completely new life. After Marina and Emily were kicked out of our family, my father gradually recovered. He is no longer a weak man, manipulated by a greedy woman. I helped him regain control of the company, and for the first time in many years, we had real family dinners. My daughter is stronger than I thought, he told me one evening, when we were having dinner together. I smiled. Dad, it took me so long to realize that I deserve better. He held my hand, his eyes full of pride. I'm so proud of you, Rachel. Those words warmed my heart more than ever. My family, even though it was once separated, is now rebuilding on the foundation of true love. I don't care about James anymore, but news about him kept spreading to my ears. After I left, his career began to collapse. There is no longer a gentle wife standing behind him to take care of and endure him. James gradually loses credibility in the company. Controversies about how he manipulated employees and how he treated women in the company also began to be revealed. Not long after, he was fired. And finally, James, who once looked down on me, thinking I wasn't good enough for him, had to leave the city, find a job far worse than what he used to have. One time, I ran into an old friend of his at an event. He's so pathetic right now, Rachel, the friend said, smiling faintly. He probably didn't expect that you could leave him and be even more successful than before. I just shrugged. I don't care about James anymore, and I really don't care anymore. He no longer has any power over me. He is just a fading ghost from the past, a lesson I have overcome. After being evicted, Marina and Emily shunned by society. No more money, no more status. They quickly revealed their true colours. Emily, who used to treat me like an inferior person, tried to break into the upper class, but failed. She is exposed as a cunning person, and doesn't have any talent or value other than being a freeloader of his mother. Marina, after being stripped of the right to run the company, was sued by shareholders for embezzlement. She lost all her assets and had to leave the city. I heard that they had to live in a cheap, cramped apartment. No one cares about them anymore. The end is for those greedy, cruel, and unrepentant. I didn't need to do anything extreme to get revenge on them. They dug their own grave with their own greed and lies. I'm just simply standing up and taking back what belongs to you. That is the sweetest revenge. Not to destroy someone, but to show them that they no longer have any power over you. That me was stronger, better, happier without them. Now, I am live the life I deserve. My work is growing like never before. I am no longer a lackluster employee who is looked down upon by my husband. I am the marketing director of a reputable company. I have real friends who love and respect me. I have a family that I have rebuilt with love. I thought I would never love again. But then, he appeared. Not a man who wants to control me. Not a manipulator like James. It's a person see my worth, love me for who I am. He doesn't try to change me. Doesn't require me to become smaller so he can shine. Instead, he walked beside me, building a future with me. For the first time, me know what real love is. A love without control, without manipulation. There is only the respect, share, and a company. I know there are many people out there like me before. Women trapped in a toxic marriage. People who are put down by family, society, and the people they love the most. People who thought that they are not good enough. But I want to tell you, you deserve a better life. You have the right to stand up and reclaim yourself. No one can determine your worth, except yourself. It took me many years to realize that, but I hope you will realize it sooner than me, because once you do that, the whole world will have to look at you in a different light. Not because I ruined someone, but because I have lived happier, stronger, and freer. I have found myself again, and nothing in the world can take that away from me anymore. I choose to shine, to love, and to embrace my true self.